Hey everyone, what's up? It's Kahoop here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a new Bitcoin miner I just purchased. It's new to me, but not new to the Bitcoin world. So it's the Bitmain Antminer R4. And there's some pretty cool things about this Bitcoin miner. As you can see in this picture, it's not like a regular ASIC looking miner. I mean, it is an ASIC miner, but doesn't look like your traditional like S9s and S19s and so on. As I did make a video previously about my S9 SE, and we can see it looks like quite a bit different from that. It's a lot different. It's like a weird block, like a brick block looking type of miner. Now, there are some cool features of this, but let me just get into some basics. So obviously it's mining the SHA-256 algorithm as it's a Bitcoin miner, and it has a maximum hash rate of 8.7 terahashes a second with a power consumption of 845 watts. So you can see it's only 845 watts, which is very low, which means you can plug it into a regular wall outlet, at least in the US, just a regular, like I think it's a 110 like voltage outlet. So just like anything that you'd plug in like your phone charger and so on, you can plug this Bitcoin miner into. And there is some cool features as the main feature that I really like, other than low power consumption. I mean, for a decent amount of terahash, that is. It also has a noise level of only 52 decibels, which is really quiet. As if you look up the noise levels of vacuums, it's anywhere between 50 to 80 decibels, and this is on the lower end of 52 decibels, so it's on like the most quiet vacuum there is, which may seem still kind of loud. But I already plugged in this miner and tested it, and to be honest, the power supply we had for it, which was, I think we were using an APW7 at the time for the Bitmain PSU, it was actually the PSU, the power supply, was really loud compared to the R4. So the R4 is very quiet, and I do plan on taking it to my apartment to use it as a space heater at my apartment. As of course, you know, if you're looking at the profits right here, we can see that it earns $193 a year in Bitcoin, but due to 12 cents per kilowatt, it actually ends up being negative $682.50 per year, which is a lot of money to be losing per year. And you might as well just be buying Bitcoin instead of mining it, because you don't want to pay more in electricity than what you're earning. But the thing is, I'm going to be using it as a space heater, as most space heaters use anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 watts, and this is using 845 watts. So it's on the lower end of a space heater, even a little bit less. So it will be basically costing me the same amount to run a space heater, and it will heat up my apartment just as much and just as quick and everything. So I am very excited to do that, especially as it's very quiet. But as I did mention, the power supply is really very loud. I looked it up, and apparently there's a power supply from Bitmain that goes connected with the R4, like specifically for it, and it's the APW5. So me and my mining partner did just buy the APW5 for the R4, as it's advertised to be very quiet. And on eBay, when we bought the power supply, the APW5, in the description, it was like they did say they like changed out the fan to make it even quieter than what the traditional fan is in there from Bitmain. So I'm kind of excited for that, to see how quiet it truly is. So to be running with that power supply with this machine, and just see if it really will be quiet enough for my apartment or not. As it would be kind of hard to do certain soundproofing with a box like this because of how it's set up compared to a traditional ASIC miner. But with our S9, we are building a box to soundproof it. But with this, it's supposed to be quiet enough to where you don't need to soundproof it. And it's kind of advertised as, some people say, oh, you can bring it to an office at work and stuff and still have it running and it's quiet enough. So we'll see how it goes. As the APW7 we connect to, it was way too loud, as I just said. So I'm excited to get the APW5 to connect it to my R4 and to see how that goes together with the sound level. And as I said, I will be using it as a space heater, therefore it will be profitable. So it will be technically earning $193 a year, but since I said I'll be using it as a space heater, I'm not going to be keeping it on 24/7. So it's going to be a lot less than $200 a year, as I'm not going to be running it during summers, not going to be running it overnight, and not even throughout the whole day, only whenever it's cold and I need some heat in my apartment. And yeah, so should be quiet enough for an apartment, and it uses a very low amount of power consumption, to where I shouldn't have to worry too much about fires or anything like that, or electrical hazards. Obviously, I will be taking precautions and making sure to use like thick cords and so on to make sure nothing happens, no fires get sparked or anything like that. So we have had that happen once before with a gold shell like mini box type miner. That did cause a lot of smoke. It was a little tiny fire that was easy to put out, but it was tons of smoke, and that really sucked. And that was at my mining partner's house. But since then, we've tried to do a lot more research, and now with these Bitcoin miners, we are making sure that won't happen. And ever since then, it has never happened again. So I think we have learned a lesson, because we also have been running mini boxes alike, and also now we're running Bitcoin miners, and so far so good. But knock on wood. And yeah, so let's get. This is the PW5. Let me just show you. I should have been showing this, but yeah, it can use in 110 volt. So that is what we are going to be doing. So this is what it looks like. It's a lot quieter, or it looks a lot quieter to me with how it's set up and vented out with the fans and stuff, compared to the APW7 PSU from Bitmain. If we look at this and compare it to something like that, so you can tell a lot more airflow, I would say, which is why I think it's allowed to be quieter, because it's got more room for airflow. And let me just go into some details over here. This is Brains Pool, as brains.com, which is also Slush Pool. They just changed their name recently. Looks like both the Bitcoin miners are offline, but it was online earlier. Right now, both the Bitcoin miners are actually at my mining partner's house, as we're still waiting for the R4, or the power supply for the R4, the APW5. So once that arrives and we tested it at his house, then we will see if it's quiet enough or not for my apartment. And if it is, we'll move it to my apartment and then give it a true test to see if it really is quiet enough. But we can see our all-time rewards right here. We've mined $2.32 in Bitcoin. And as you can see, it's going up and down. The R4, the S9 SE, rewards, and dashboard. I wonder if I can change the date. Okay, here we go. Yeah, you can see it's going up and down, and that's because, as I said, we're using them as space heaters, so it's not going to be constantly going. So there's that. But right now, we don't have him running, looks like, and that's fine, because if he doesn't need any heat, then there's no reason to have him on, because they're not profitable. But we are excited for the Bitcoin price to go back up to its all-time high, as we will see how profitable it actually gets by then if Bitcoin were to go up to back to like 68,000. Now, of course, Bitcoin historically does not break a new all-time high until after each halving. So in 2020, there was a Bitcoin halving, and the rewards went from 12.5. Went from 12 to 6.25. Here, one second. All right, sorry about that. But yeah, so the Bitcoin rewards in 2020 actually went from 12.5, so 12.5 down to 6.25 in 2020. So next halving, and then so after that halving happened, which was around May of 2020, around here, Bitcoin was $10,000, and everyone said it was priced in. Obviously, it wasn't priced in, because we can see just June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So 5 to 6 months, maybe 7 months at most, it started to skyrocket all the way up to a new all-time high. And historically, Bitcoin has always done that after each halving. There is another halving coming. And so Bitcoin most likely will not break a new all-time high until that halving. But if you know what the halvings are, that's the Bitcoin rewards. So basically, it's going to go down from 6.25 Bitcoin being rewarded per block. So if a miner mines a block, they get rewarded 6.25 Bitcoin right now. It's going to cut in half into 3.125 Bitcoin. So close to 3.12 Bitcoin basically being rewarded per block. And as I'm in a mining pool, basically what a mining pool does is it gets all of your hash rate from different people, my hash rate, other people's hash rate, pools it all together to mine a block. And then basically what happens is only one miner can actually find a block. So technically speaking, my miner could find a block, but then it would be rewarded equally between the hash rate. So whoever has like the higher hash rate, they're going to get a more higher percentage of it, because obviously their chances were higher of actually finding it, and so on. And some people think, that's not fair, whatnot. So some people do not use a mining pool to do that. Instead, they'll solo mine. So then they'll just hash away and hope that their single Bitcoin miner finds a block, which is very difficult to do if you don't have really high hash rate. You probably need more than hundreds. I'd probably even say thousands of hash rate per second to be solo mining and so on. But I don't know too much about that because I don't solo mine, so I don't know all the details with what you would need to be likely to even mine a block that way. But if you were to solo mine and you found a block right now, you'd get 6.25 Bitcoin, which is kind of cool to think. But after the next halving, it's going to be 3.125 Bitcoin. And we can look right here. It's 413 days until the next Bitcoin halving. This is an estimation. There's the reward drop estimation date of April 28th, 2024. This will always be changing as it's based on basically every 210,000 blocks that are mined. And that usually averages out to 10 minutes per block, but it can be shorter or take longer and so on. So the amount of days will change. The actual date is not set, but we know that once it reaches another 210,000 blocks, then it will cut in half in the rewards. But yeah, so there's that. And basically when the rewards cut in half, that means our miner will become less profitable. I mean, if the rewards cut in half, I'm assuming our income cuts in half. So this will go down from $200 to $100 a year. But then if we take the Bitcoin price into consideration, let's say it was doing $100 a year and Bitcoin was still at 21,000. Let's do 21,000 times 5. Okay, that's 105,000. Let's be a bit more conservative and say 21,000 times 4. That's $84,000. So let's say Bitcoin went up to $84,000. That's a X4, right? 4x. So 4x. That's funny, like foreign exchange. But I don't think that's what that means. 1 second. Let me pause the video. All right, I'm back. Sorry for my rambling, but anyways, yeah, 21,000 times 4. Okay, and now let's say the rewards are cut in half, and that means I got $100 a year. You just do 100 times 4, so it's $400. So the income could be $400. If that's the case, obviously, even if Bitcoin, does the next 4 and goes up to 88,000, and the mining rewards cut in half, and if my income cuts in half, then it still won't be profitable. But I'm thinking it will become profitable for other people elsewhere. There are places where you can live that do a lot less than 12 cents per kilowatt. For example, if we go down here and say our electrical rate is 4 cents per kilowatt, it says you'll lose $90 a year. But the income, but the electricity is a lot less. So let's say, even though you're losing money right now, like I said, if Bitcoin goes up to 88,000 and the income quadruples from $100 to $400 because if the rewards cut in half after the next halving, well, this income would say $400, and then it would be 400 minus the 292 you're paying in electricity. So you'd be profiting $108 a year. So this Bitcoin miner could become profitable for you depending on your electricity. Now, if you get even less electricity, some people might pay 2 cents per kilowatt. Okay, now it's not being accurate anymore. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say. And this video is getting kind of long. So I'm going to end it here, but I'm excited to get that new power supply. And once I get that power supply in, and once we do some testing with the Bitcoin mining soundproofing box that we're doing for our S9, and figure out some stuff and so on, I will be making a video of the physical miners and showing you videos of them and how our setup looks like and what we're using and all that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more future content, and I'll see you all in the next one.